Eli Ward stood alone on the dusty landing pad, watching the bright sun fall behind the red hills of the frontier moon. And he felt a strange mix of hope and fear in his chest. For months, he had been living by himself on the old ranch, fixing fences, feeding cattle, repairing machines, and trying to keep loneliness from crushing him. Tonight was supposed to change everything. Tonight, the ship would bring him a wife, a real human woman. Someone he could talk to, someone he could work with, someone he could build a life with. After years of living alone, he wanted a partner more than anything. He checked the letter again. The agency had promised a simple, kind woman from Earth, someone who wanted a peaceful life away from the busy cities. Eli imagined her smiling, stepping out of the ship, maybe carrying a small bag, maybe nervous like him. He rehearsed his first words over and over. "Welcome to my ranch. I'm Eli." He wanted to sound calm, but his heart kept beating fast. A loud engine roar filled the air. A small silver ship came down through the dust cloud, landing hard on the ground. Eli took a breath and wiped his hands on his shirt. This was it. This was the moment he had waited for. But as the side door opened, something felt wrong. There was no soft music, no friendly greeting announcement. No agency workers stepping out first. Instead, two soldiers jumped out with weapons raised. Eli froze. Soldiers. Why soldiers? Before he could understand anything, a tall figure stepped out of the dark doorway. At first, Eli thought it was just a woman wearing heavy travel clothes. But then the figure moved, and he saw the truth. The person was not human. She was taller than him, her shoulders sharp and strong, her body marked with black armor plates cracked by battle. Her mask covered her whole face with glowing blue lines running down the sides. Her wrists were tied with metal cuffs. She looked like a fighter, dangerous, exhausted, and hurt. The soldiers pointed their guns at her and shouted, "Stop! Don't run!" But the alien woman turned her head just slightly, and Eli felt her eyes lock onto him through the mask. For 1 second, they just stared at each other. Eli felt something he could not explain. Fear. Yes, but also something sharp and alive, as if trouble had just stepped into his world and chosen him. The woman suddenly broke free from the ship's ramp and ran toward him. Eli stepped back, confused, but she stopped just 2 steps away from him. She was breathing fast, her chest rising and falling like she had been running for days. She leaned in close and whispered in a low, urgent voice, "Please. Pretend you ordered me. Pretend I am the wife you were waiting for. If you don't, they will kill me." Eli's mouth opened, but no words came out. This wasn't the plan. This wasn't the life he wanted. He was supposed to meet a human bride, not an alien outlaw. What if she was dangerous? What if she had killed people? What if he helped her and became a criminal too? Behind her, the soldiers shouted again, "Human, step aside. That outlaw is ours. Outlaw." The word echoed in Eli's mind. The alien woman's hands shook. "Please," she whispered again, "I won't hurt you. I just need to live. Let me be your wife. Just for today." Eli looked at her mask, cracked and burnt in places. He saw dried blood on her armor. She was cornered, hunted, desperate. But there was something else too, a strange softness in her voice. A quiet fear hiding under her strength. He had 2 choices. He could step aside and let the soldiers take her away, maybe to prison, maybe to execution. Or he could lie. He could protect her. He could risk everything. Eli took a slow breath. His heart pounded like a hammer. The soldiers marched closer, rifles raised. "Human, move." Eli stepped forward, blocking them. "She's my wife," he said loudly. "I ordered her. She belongs here." Silence fell over the landing pad. The soldiers stared at him, shocked. The alien woman stared at him too, but her eyes hidden behind the mask softened. The soldiers didn't believe him, not yet. But now, Eli Ward had made a choice that would change his whole life. He had just claimed an alien outlaw as his bride, and nothing on the frontier moon would ever be the same. Eli did not know what he had done. He only knew one thing. He had spoken too fast, too boldly, and now there was no turning back. The soldiers stared at him with cold eyes, clearly unsure whether to believe him or arrest him. The alien woman stood behind him like a silent shadow, breathing softly, not moving even a little. After a long moment, the captain finally lowered his rifle and stepped closer. "You ordered this?" the captain asked, pointing his metal finger toward her. Eli swallowed. "Yes, she's the bride I paid for. The agency sent her." The captain studied him, then looked at her again. She said nothing. Her mask hid her face, her hands stayed cuffed, and her body stayed perfectly still. The wind blew dust between them. The captain muttered something to his partner, then waved his hand. "Fine. But if we find out you're lying, human, your ranch will burn." Their ship lifted off, blasting the ground with fire and dust. Eli stood there until the noise faded away. When he finally turned, the alien woman was already walking toward his house, dragging her tired feet across the dry soil. Eli hurried after her. "Wait. Stop. You can't just—" She turned suddenly, and he froze. Even tired and injured, she moved like lightning. Her presence felt sharp, like a knife pressed quietly against his skin. "You saved my life," she said in a calm, steady voice. "Now, I will not harm you. I only need one night. One night to rest. Then I leave." Eli looked at the cuffs on her wrists. "You're hurt. And you're not going anywhere like that?" She didn't reply. Inside the ranch house, the air was warm and filled with the smell of wood and old leather. Eli lit a small lantern. The alien woman stepped inside carefully, as if she was entering unknown territory. "You can sit," he said. She didn't sit. Instead, she walked to the corner of the room and crouched, like someone who had spent years sleeping in caves or cold metal halls. She stayed alert, watching every shadow. "What's your name?" Eli asked. She didn't answer. He tried again. "I'm Eli Ward. This is my home." No reply. He stepped closer. "I'm not your enemy." Slowly, she lifted her hands. The cuffs shone under the lantern light. "Remove these," she said. I don't have a key." She tilted her head. Eli felt like she was judging him behind that mask. "I'll try," he said quickly. "Maybe I can cut them." He brought out his old ranch tools, searching for something that might help. She sat silently while he worked, sparks flying from the metal cuffs. After a few minutes, the left cuff snapped open. She didn't even flinch. When the right cuff broke free, she rubbed her wrists quietly. "Thank you," she said. Her voice was softer now, as if she finally accepted he wasn't a threat. Eli stepped back, noticing the strange markings on her skin-thin, glowing lines like veins of blue fire. He had never seen that on any alien before. She stood and finally removed her mask. Eli froze. Her eyes were silver, bright and sharp like polished steel. Her skin was pale with faint patterns moving under it. A long scar ran down her cheek. She looked dangerous, but there was something tired in her expressions, something human-like, something wounded. "My name is Riza," she said. "I am not your bride, and I am not safe to be around." Eli nodded slowly. "Then tell me why they want you." Riza looked away. "The less you know, the longer you live." She tried to walk toward the door again. Eli stepped in front of her. "You can't go back out there. They'll kill you." She looked directly into his eyes. "Better them than you." Eli shook his head. I didn't save you just to let you die outside." For the first time, her silver eyes softened just a little. She looked at the small ranch boots by the door, the old family photo on the shelf, the warm lantern glow. It was clear she hadn't been in a peaceful place for a long time. "Fine," she said quietly. "One night. Only one." She walked to the window and peered out. Her body tensed. "What is it?" Eli asked. Riza pointed at the dark horizon. Several tiny lights moved across the sky search drones, scanning the land. "They know I escaped," she whispered. "They will search every house." Fear tightened in Eli's chest. "How long until they come here?" he asked. Riza didn't look away from the window. "Not long," she said. "And when they do, you must decide again whether to protect me." Her voice was calm, but the room felt suddenly colder. Danger was coming. And Eli had only begun to understand what he had invited into his home. Night came slowly to the frontier moon, but Eli could not feel its peace. Not tonight. The small ranch house sat quiet in the fading light, but inside, tension filled every corner. Riza stood by the window like a statue, her silver eyes following the movement of distant drones. Every few minutes, she whispered something in her language short. Sharp warnings Eli could not understand. Eli watched her from the kitchen. He tried to calm his breathing, but his hands shook a little. "Are they really coming?" he asked. "They are not searching," Riza replied, without turning. "They're hunting." Those words made Eli's stomach drop. Hunting meant no rules, no mercy, no trials. It meant soldiers or bounty hunters would come fast, weapons ready, taking anyone in their way. Riza stepped back from the window. Her face looked different, now her strong mask gone, her eyes softer but full of fire. She moved to the table and picked up the broken cuffs Eli had removed earlier. "They will think you helped me escape," she said. "They will blame you." "I know," Eli answered. "You lied for me?" "They will not forget." "I know that too." Riza studied him carefully. Why risk your life for someone you don't know?" Eli looked at the ground. "Because I know what it feels like to lose someone, and I won't watch another person die on my land." Riza didn't speak for several seconds. She finally turned her head away, as if she didn't want him to see something changing inside her. Before either of them could speak again, a deep rumble shook the ground. Eli ran to the door and pushed it open. Dust clouds rose beyond the field. Shapes moved in the darkness, large, fast, and too many to count. Riza stepped beside him. "Bounty hunters," she whispered. "Not soldiers. Worse." Eli's breath caught in his throat. "Why worse?" "Soldiers have orders," she said. "But bounty hunters, they have hunger. They want money, fame, trophies. They do not stop until they get what they came for." The rumble grew louder. Eli grabbed his old shotgun from the shelf. It wasn't much. It was slow, old, and no match for alien weapons. But it was all he had. Riza looked at the shotgun and raised an eyebrow. "That toy will not help you." "It helped me against wild beasts," Eli said quietly. Riza almost smiled, just a tiny, fast flicker of amusement, but then her expression turned serious again. She reached for her belt, pulling out a small, hidden weapon Eli hadn't seen before. It was broken in 3 places, sparking weakly, but she tried to fix it with quick fingers. "You fought before?" Eli asked. Reza's eyes hardened. "I fought all my life." The rumble grew even louder now. It sounded like engines, metal boots, and the hiss of alien machinery. Eli's heart pounded. He had never faced a real war in his life, but Riza moved like someone who had faced 1,000. She touched Eli's arm. "Stay behind me." "What?" "No, this is my ranch. And this is my fight." She replied firmly. If you die, I lose the only safe place I have. Eli swallowed hard but nodded. The lights of the bounty hunters appeared dread. Green and white beams cutting through the dust. Eli could hear alien voices shouting commands. Harsh, sharp, hungry. They were close. Riza stepped in front of the house, her feet planted in the dirt, her hands raised. The broken weapon sparked to life with a weak electric pulse. Riza, Eli whispered. There are too many, I know, she answered softly. But it doesn't matter. A tall, armored bounty hunter emerged from the fog, pointing a gun at Riza. Outlaw Riza Var. He shouted. Come quietly, and we will not kill the human. Riza tilted her head. You lie. The hunter snarled and fired. Riza moved before Eli even saw the blast. She jumped sideways, rolled across the ground, and fired back with lightning speed. Her shot hit the hunter's shoulder, spinning him around. More hunters appeared, some climbing fences. Others rushing forward. Eli fired his shotgun, almost blind, but the blast hit one hunter in the leg, knocking him down. Riza glanced back in surprise. No one expected a simple rancher to fight. Stay close. She shouted. The battle exploded across the ranch. Sparks lit the night. Metal clashed. Dirt flew. Riza fought with unbelievable agility, jumping, sliding, spinning, firing broken shots with perfect aim. Eli stayed behind cover, shooting when he could. When the dust finally settled, half the bounty hunters lay on the ground, groaning, their weapons destroyed. But Riza wasn't celebrating. She stood still, her chest rising fast, staring at the horizon. What's wrong? Eli asked. Riza's silver eyes narrowed. That was only the first wave, she whispered. Someone powerful wants me badly. Eli felt cold fear crawl up his spine. If this was only the beginning. Then the next part of the nightmare had already started. The ranch smelled of smoke and burnt metal. Sparks still glowed in broken grass where energy shots had landed. Eli walked slowly among the fallen bounty hunters, his hands shaking just a little. He had never been in a battle like this. He had never felt death so close, so real. But Riza. She stood in the middle of the field with her head lowered, breathing heavily, her body covered in dust and scratches. For a moment, she looked almost human, tired, hurt, and alone. Eli approached her carefully. You saved my life. She didn't answer. And I saved yours, he added gently. Still nothing. Eli stepped closer. Riza, what did you do? Why are all these people coming for you? You can tell me the truth. Riza slowly lifted her head. Her silver eyes glowed like cold stars. Then, without a word, she turned and walked toward the barn. Eli followed her silently. Inside the barn, night air drifted through broken boards. Riza sat on an old crate and took a slow breath. You want the truth, she said finally. The truth is ugly. But you deserve to know. Eli sat across from her. He waited. Riza looked down at her hands, hands strong enough to break metal. Hands steady enough to fire weapons with perfect aim. But now they trembled slightly. I was born in the Shadow Clans, she began. My people lived far from the cities. We wanted simple life, land, freedom, peace. Eli nodded. Like ranchers. Yes, she said softly. Very much like ranchers, she continued after a pause. But the governor of this sector wanted our land. He wanted every clan under his control. He sent soldiers to our valley one night. They said we had not paid protection fees, but our clan never agreed to such things. We refuse. Eli felt anger stir in his chest. He knew that kind of power. He had seen large corporations treat small ranchers the same way, take land, raise taxes, break families. What happened? He whispered. Riza's voice lowered. They attacked us. Houses burned. People screamed. They tried to capture our elders. My mother was one of the leaders. When she resisted, a soldier shot her. Eli's breath stopped. I'm sorry. Riza looked away. I fought back. I took my mother's weapon and defended our home. Many of us fought. But the governor twisted the story. He told the galaxy that I attacked his men, that I killed innocent officers. He called me an outlaw, a criminal. She touched the scar on her cheek. He paid hunters to chase me. He made my name the symbol of rebellion. Eli leaned forward. So you're not a criminal. Riza shook her head. I protected my clan. But the galaxy believes lies more easily than truth. Eli felt something heavy lift inside him. He had feared she might be dangerous, cruel, a true outlaw. But now he saw her clearly, someone betrayed, hunted, pushed into shadows. But why come here? He asked. Riza closed her eyes for a moment. The governor discovered I was still alive. He wants me dead before the clan leaders can speak against him. I tried to escape. I boarded a cargo ship. But someone recognized me. Soldiers trapped me. They wanted to take me to the capital for execution. Her voice cracked slightly. I ran. They chased me. And I ended up stepping out of that ship in front of you. Eli exhaled slowly. Everything made sense now. The fear in her eyes, the desperation, her refusal to trust anyone, but something still bothered him. Why did you trust me, even for a moment? Riza looked at him with a long, quiet stare. When I stepped off that ship, I sensed no violence in you, no greed, no hunger to use me or sell me. She tilted her head. You looked surprised, yes? But not afraid. You looked kind. Eli blinked. No one had ever described him like that. I just didn't want you to die. Riza nodded. Exactly. And no one has said that to me in years. Silence settled between them. Soft, heavy, important. Suddenly, a beeping sound echoed across the fields. Riza stood instantly, her muscles tense. Eli ran outside to see what she sensed. Over the hills, huge shadows moved, larger than bounty hunters, faster than foot soldiers. Engines roared low and deep, like thunder rolling through the ground. Riza grabbed Eli's arm. Not hunters, not soldiers. This is worse. What is it? Eli asked. Her voice turned ice cold. Elite patrols, direct from the governor. Eli felt his heart freeze. How did they find us so fast? He whispered. Riza looked at the broken drones lying in the dirt. Because the first wave wasn't to capture me, she said. It was to mark your ranch. She stepped back, her silver eyes bright with fear. They know exactly where we are, she whispered, and they're coming to finish the job. The ground began to shake long before Eli saw the ships. The tremor ran through the soil, through the broken fences, through the old wooden walls of the ranch house. Even the cattle far in the fields sensed the danger and began to cry restlessly in the dark. Eli had lived on this moon his whole life, but he had never felt anything like this. This was not a patrol. This was not a small search. This was an invasion. Riza stood outside the house, her eyes fixed on the horizon. The wind blew her dark hair across her scarred face. She looked calmer than Eli, but he could see tension in her hands-tight fingers, ready for war. The governor sent his elite unit, she said quietly. They don't come for questions. They come to erase. Eli swallowed hard. Erase. What? Everything, Riza replied. The land. The people. The evidence. Eli felt heat rise in his chest. Anger, fear, rage. This is my home, he said softly. They can't just destroy it. They can, Riza said. They have done it before. Before Eli could answer, bright lights erupted on the ridge. For heavy carriers rose into the sky, flying low, kicking up dust. Their engines were louder than thunder. Their shadows covered the ranch like giant dark wings. Riza stepped forward. Eli, inside the house. Now? But Eli shook his head. No, I'm not hiding while they kill you. Riza glared at him. This is not bravery. This is death. Maybe, Eli said, lifting his old shotgun, but this ranch is all I have left. And now, you're here too. Her eyes softened for the first time. Just for a moment. Then she turned back toward the ships. The elite troops landed in perfect lines, like sharp metal teeth forming a circle around the ranch. Their armor glowed red. Their guns were the kind used only in large, war-silent, deadly, unforgiving. An officer stepped forward, voice booming through a speaker. Human rancher Eli Ward. You have sheltered a high-threat alien criminal. Step aside now. Surrender the outlaw. Riza whispered. They will kill you if you step aside. And they will kill me if you don't. Eli lifted his shotgun. Then we fight. Riza breathed out slowly. You are the strangest human I have ever met. Without warning, the first shot came. A huge blast tore through the barn, exploding wood and fire into the air. The cattle screamed. The shockwave knocked Eli to the ground. Riza leaped over him, grabbing his shirt and pulling him behind the water tank just as another blast destroyed the metal fence. Stay down. She shouted, but Eli crawled up again, shaking. They'll surround us, we have to move. Reza's weapon flickered with weak blue light. She fired 3 quick shots, each one lightning fast. 2 soldiers fell. One lost his weapon. Another blast hit the tank behind them, splashing water everywhere. This place will not survive, Riza said. Eli's chest burned. His father built this ranch. His mother died here. His whole life was buried in this soil. And now strangers were tearing it apart. A deep roar cut through the chaos. Massive sound like metal grinding against rock. Eli looked up and saw something huge descending from the sky. A war mech. It was taller than the house. Heavier than any machine Eli had ever seen. Its eyes glowed red. Its steps crushed the ground like giant hammer blows. Riza? Eli whispered. What is that thing? A death sentence, she said. We can't fight that. We run. But when the mech aimed its cannon at the house at the one place Eli still had memories, left, he snapped. No, Eli said. We're not running. He dashed toward the stables. Riza cursed and sprinted after him. Eli, stop. You can't fight, but she stopped when she saw what he was doing. He wasn't running away. He was jumping onto his old hover horse, a rusty, battered machine he rarely used because it barely worked anymore. Eli grabbed the reins and looked at her. I can draw them away. You take cover. Fix your weapon. When they follow me, you hit them from behind. Riza stared at him like he was insane. Maybe he was. You will die, she said. Maybe, but you won't. She stepped closer, eyes burning. Why protect me? Eli gripped the reins tighter. Because someone has to. For a moment, Riza looked like she wanted to stop him. But the mech took another step, its cannon charging again. Riza nodded once. Go. Eli kicked the hover horse and shot across the field, dust flying behind him. The mech turned toward him. Soldiers chased. Blasters fired. The night turned into fire and noise. Riza watched him ride into danger and felt something strange in her. Chests, something she hadn't felt in years. Fear. Fear of losing someone who chose her. Someone who believed in her innocence. Someone who saw her as more than an outlaw. The ranch burned behind them. The battlefield roared ahead. And the real war had just begun. The hoverhorse shot across the open fields like a streak of rust and light. Its engines coughed and sparked, barely holding together, but Eli didn't slow down. The giant war mech turned its massive head toward him, red eyes flashing like burning coals. The ground shook with every step it took, each one heavier, faster. Angry-eyed Eli could feel the heat from its cannon warming the back of his neck. Good, he thought. Come after me. Leave her alone behind him. Risa watched the mech chase Eli. Her jaw tightened. Her fingers curled around her broken weapon. She wanted to scream for him to come back. She wanted to drag him off that hoverhorse and shout, "Don't die for me." But she couldn't, because he wasn't the one being hunted anymore. He had chosen to become the hunter's bait. Risa dashed behind the burned barn, her boots hitting the dirt hard. Sparks from falling embers lit her path. She dropped to one knee and opened the weapon's side panel. The energy core was cracked, leaking blue smoke. The wires were burnt. No one in the galaxy would try to fix a weapon in this condition, except someone who had no other choice. Her fingers moved fast, pushing metal, fusing wires, forcing energy paths to reconnect. Her breathing grew sharp. Sweat rolled down her neck. Every few seconds, she peered over the fence to check on Eli. The mech fired a shot. A massive explosion erupted behind Eli. Dirt flying into the sky like a geyser. Eli's hoverhorse swerved wildly. For a moment, Reza's heart stopped. She thought he was falling. But Eli held tight, gripping the reins with desperate strength. "Come on," Risa whispered through clenched teeth, twisting the energy core again. "Hold together. Just for this fight." The weapon sparked. Blue light pulsed once. Then again, it was alive. Risa stood, eyes burning with fierce determination. "Your turn," she whispered to the night. Eli didn't know how long he could last. His hoverhorse rattled violently under him, shaking like it might tear apart. The mech stomped after him, firing blasts that ripped the soil open behind him. Hot dirt rained down on his back. His lungs burned. Sweat stung his eyes. He glanced over his shoulder and saw the mech raising its cannon, charging for a full power shot. Eli's heart froze. This one wasn't meant to scare him. This one was meant to erase him. Suddenly, a blue streak sliced through the air. RHEZ. She launched herself from behind a wrecked water tank, her weapon glowing bright like a star gone wild. She sprinted straight toward the mech, fearless, fast, unstoppable. She fired. Her shot hit the mech's shoulder joint, sending sparks everywhere. The mech staggered, its cannon wobbling upward. The blast fired into the sky instead of Eli. Eli gasped in relief. Risa kept running, her feet barely touching the ground. She leaped onto the mech's leg like a shadow climbing a giant. Soldiers fired at her from all sides, but she dodged every shot with impossible speed. "Come on, Risa," Eli shouted from across the field, though she couldn't hear him over the explosions. She climbed higher, gripping metal plates, pulling herself up by sheer strength. The mech roared, shaking violently to throw her off, but she held tight. Dragging herself to the head of the metal monster, the mech lifted its arm to crush her, but Risa was faster. She jammed her weapon into the mech's neck joint. She fired point blank. A burst of blue light exploded inside its core. The mech's eyes flickered, then went dark. Risa pushed off at the last second, rolling across the ground as the entire mech collapsed like a dying titan. The crash shook the earth. Eli pulled the hoverhorse to a stop and ran toward her. "Risa." She sat up slowly, breathing hard, dust covering her face. Eli dropped to his knees beside her. "Are you hurt?" he asked. Only everywhere, she said with a small smile. He laughed shakily, relief washing through him like a warm tide. But Reza's expression changed, suddenly, her eyes narrowing in alarm. Eli, get down. She pushed him aside just as a shuttle landed behind them. Out stepped a tall alien in royal armor, dark, polished, deadly, the corrupt governor himself. Around him stood elite guards with heavy rifles. Well, well, the governor said, smiling coldly. Outlaw Riza Var, and the human who dared protect her. Riza rose to her feet, body trembling from exhaustion, but still standing tall. This ends tonight, the governor said with a sneer. With your execution. He raised his hand. Before he could give the kill order, Riza charged. She fought like a storm, breaking free, striking guards, dodging blades, firing her half-dead weapon until sparks flew from its core. Eli couldn't stand back anymore. He grabbed a guard's fallen rifle and fired at the attackers, protecting Riza the way she protected him. The governor tried to flee, but Riza cornered him. He aimed a small pistol at her, but his hand shook. Please listen. Riza fired at his weapon, knocking it from his hand. Tell the truth, she demanded. Tell them what you did to my people. Cornered and terrified, the governor screamed. Fine. Fine. I framed her. She's innocent. She's a guard tried to shoot Riza, but Eli tackled him, saving her. Riza looked back at Eli. Stunned, the governor fell to his knees, clutching his chest. She never betrayed anyone, he gasped. I did. The elite soldiers slowly lowered their weapons. Silence fell. The truth was finally out. The war now was over, but Reza's legs shook. The world around her blurred. She collapsed. Riza? Eli caught her before she hit the ground. Her silver eyes fluttered open for a moment. You protected me, she whispered. Eli held her close. Always. The sun rose over the battlefield, and the final chapter of their fate was waiting. Eli carried Riza back toward the ranch house like she weighed nothing, though his arms shook with exhaustion. Smoke drifted through the early morning air. The sun was rising slowly behind the hills, turning the battlefield into long shadows and orange light. The governor's elite soldiers stood silently, unsure what to do after their leader collapsed and confessed everything. Reza's head rested against Eli's shoulder. Her silver eyes opened only halfway. Put me down, she whispered weakly. No, Eli said softly. Not until I know you're safe. Her fingers curled into his shirt, trying to hold on, even in her wounded state. It was the gentlest touch she had ever given him. She wasn't the outlaw gunslinger now. She wasn't the hunted warrior. She was just a tired woman who had run for too long. When Eli reached the porch, he laid her down carefully on a blanket and checked her injuries. Burns, cuts, bruises, exhaustion deep in her bones. But she was alive. That mech should have killed you, Eli murmured. Riza forced a small smile. I don't die easily. Eli brushed dirt from her cheek. Good. I'm not done with you yet. Her eyes softened, so slowly it was almost invisible. Across the field, the elite soldiers gathered. Without the governor, they looked lost. Some whispered among themselves. Others examined the mech's shattered remains. A young officer stepped forward, helmet under his arm. He approached Eli cautiously. Human, he said, the governor is dead. His crimes are confirmed. We heard his confession. Eli stood protectively in front of Riza. Then what happens now? The officer looked at Riza with conflicted eyes. Not hatred, not fear. Something like respect. If her clan files a claim, her name can be cleared. We will transmit the confession to the capital. Riza opened her eyes. And the hunters. We will call them off, the officer answered. You are no outlaw. Not anymore. Riza let out a slow, trembling breath. A breath she had been holding for years. Freedom, it didn't feel real. The officer nodded respectfully to Eli. You protected an innocent woman. Today, you saved more than just your ranch. He turned back to his troops. Within minutes, the elite soldiers climbed into their ships. Engines roared as they lifted off, leaving dust spinning in the air. For the first time since Riza stepped out of that transport ship, the land was quiet. Eli sat beside Riza as the sun climbed higher. The ranch was half destroyed, the barn gone, fences broken, fields scorched. But the silence felt peaceful for the first time in a long time. Riza slowly sat up, hugging her knees to her chest. She looked around at the burned land. I'm sorry, she whispered. Your home. Your memories. All ruined because of me. Eli stared at the broken ranch. The pain was there deep, sharp, but he shook his head. Homes can be rebuilt. People can't. Riza turned toward him. You lost everything. No, Eli said softly. Not everything. Her breath caught. Why would you? Risk your life for me. You didn't even know me. Eli looked at her carefully, as if trying to understand his own heart. Because you stood at my front door and asked me to save you. Because I saw fear in your eyes, but also strength. Because when everything fell apart, you fought for me too. Riza blinked, surprised. For years, she believed she was alone in the universe, no trust, no friends, no home. But Eli Ward, a quiet rancher from a forgotten moon, had become the first person to protect her without wanting anything in return. She lowered her head. I don't know what to do now. My clan is far away. My life is empty. Eli gently touched her hand. Then stay here. Her eyes widened. Stay. After all this? You didn't choose to come here, Eli said, but you can choose to stay. Reza's lips parted. Emotions flickered across her face: fear, confusion, warmth, disbelief. I'm not the bride you were waiting for, she whispered. Eli gave a small smile. Maybe you're the wife I needed instead. Her cheeks flushed a faint silver something he had never seen before. But I'm not human, she said quietly. I know, Eli replied. Doesn't matter. I'm broken, she said. So am I. I bring danger. Not anymore. Reza's throat tightened. She looked away, blinking rapidly. No one has ever said things like that to me. Eli gently cupped her cheek, making her face him. Then, hear it now. You're safe here. You're wanted here. And if you choose, you're home here. Reza's silver eyes filled with something new, something she had been denied for years. Belonging. After a long moment, Sia leaned forward and rested her forehead against his. Then I choose this home, she whispered. Eli closed his eyes, relief and warmth rushing through him. Good, he whispered back. Because I choose you too. Oh, God. They stayed like that as the sun rose higher, warming the broken ranch. The battlefield scars would heal. The fences could be rebuilt. And the alien outlaw who once begged for a lie had finally found a place where she didn't need to hide. A human rancher, an alien gunslinger, and a home they would rebuild together. Their legend, born in dust and firewood, spread across the frontier moons for generations.